guys, still on Zylofon 2.1, and we're back to the next segment of the show. I still have my goons, Mike Yamwa, lecturer, Chief Charles, singer, songwriter, voice coach, man in charge of AwesomeDead.com, and that half-co high life artist. He's also a songwriter. Okay, so these great guys are with me. Now we're moving on to the next issue, and it has to do with VGMA and government support. Not too long ago, Judge Quaye granted an interview in a local radio station where he claimed government hasn't honored the pledge to support VGMAs. And we're asking, if up until now, we have about 3 weeks to the event for 2019, and yet nothing has come in from government as promised. What does it mean to the award scheme for this year? Is it going to take something away from it? Is the bars even enough? Do they have enough funds to carry through? Judge Quaye will be talking to us, letting us know the state of affairs at Charterhouse as we speak when it comes to money or finances. And why hasn't government honored their promise? That could be something that Judge Quaye would be the right person to answer. But for now, government still hasn't sent in the money they promised. For real. Okay, Mike Yamwa.
Yes,
we're just a few weeks away, from the VGMA's 2019. Okay, Judge Quaye has answered now. And so I'd love to start a conversation with him. Then I come back to the studio to deal with Mike Yamwa and Chief Charles. Judge, how you doing? We're still short. Yeah, true. You're always the shorter one. Anyways, how far with the VGMAs? What's happening now?
Well, what's happening now is that we are getting ready for the experience contest. You know, there's 3 major events ahead of us.
Yeah.
We had a wish list and we had a reality checklist. So what's it? Checklist. The wish list is what you would do if you're able to, store for more funding. So we're going with a reality checklist and things. So we have 3 major events ahead of us, which is the VGMA Experience Contest, which is coming on next week Saturday at Independence Square.
At Independence Square.
We're breaking by tomorrow.
Okay.
And that will be followed by the Music Business Seminar, which is on the 17th of May. That is about a week after tomorrow. And then there's all the 2 weeks after tomorrow, actually. Then there's the main event on the 18th of May.
Okay. Now you're dealing with the reality and not the wish list. Now, has your inability to work with a wish list shifted you off balance? Has it affected you in any way?
Oh, no, not at all. You know, when you're planning, that is what planning is all about. You consider all your options, the way all your options, and then you put everything back. And then based on what's available, resources and needs are 2 different things.
Okay.
Resources availability, always find what you can. And when you're planning, you need to plan with that at the back of your mind. So, no, we haven't been derailed. We would have loved to go with a wish list because that would have been truly exciting for Ghana and for the rest of the continent, possibly. But reality, we have to be pragmatic and go with what we can do. As our friends would say, you can't come and kill yourself.
Okay. So what's making it impossible for you to work with a wish list?
Oh, like I did mention earlier, it is funding. You call on corporate Ghana, you call on state institutions, you call on everybody. Those that can support you have supported you. And let me say, shout out to Vodafone. They've been phenomenal, they've been excellent, they've been great so far. We're eternally grateful to them. And to everybody else that has supported Zylofon, all the other media partners who have been part of this. So we're eternally grateful. But you yourself, you're an event producer, so you know what it takes to produce an event of such caliber. So yes, you would have wished you could access a bit more funding, but what you have is also good enough to let you do what you call the reality checklist. So we are grateful for what we have, and with that, we are going to give Ghana and the rest of Africa
pledged a certain support. Have you received it?
No, not yet. We are so hopeful. We are so hoping something would come through.
But have you heard from them? Has there been follow-ups?
Oh, last Saturday on my show, I think the community of the Ghana Tourism Development Agency did say that there had been an offer of a kind. I think you mentioned 100,000 or so.
100,000 Ghana cedis.
100,000 cities. But I'm yet to see an official document to that effect. So I cannot independently confirm it. I haven't seen it.
Wow. Was it just talk, or it's something that they were bent on doing?
Like I said, I have not cited any official document to that effect yet. Maybe the discussions going on are above my pay grade, so I haven't brought into the notice yet. As soon as I have information on that, rest assured I will share with you.
Wow, we still have a few weeks to the main event. Is this something you will still, 2 weeks, good. So is this something you will still chase to ensure that, you know, government comes in and gives their money or delivers on their promise? Are you going to do a follow-up to make sure you get that from them?
Oh, Arnold, you've got to have faith. The government of Nigeria has been a government of action since they came in. I mean, you can look at the trend of things. You can look at the things that they've done so far. So when they say something, at least they will do it. And this is a government that has shown some interest in the creative art. And they have supported some initiatives in that space. I mean, you know, there was some massive support that was given to the Afromas. There was some support that was given to Afrotella. There was some support that was given to the Challenge Festival. And we're truly grateful. So there is no indication that the government would renege on its promise or would not honor its promise. So like I said, we're hopeful.
Would this be the first time government is making such a move towards the VGMAs?
Yes, well, it would be a good time government has financially supporting people upon Ghana in the world.
After 20 years?
Oh, well, that's always the best time, so you cannot blame them. And also, we cannot lose sight of the fact that, I mean, it is a country, and resources are scarce, and the needs are endless. I mean, there are schools to be built, there are hospitals to be built, we still have power challenges, there are a lot of things that need to be done. So, I mean, if you put a demand on certain nature, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for government, I'm trying to be a little realistic here. You understand me? Yes, I do also agree to the fact that if we want to build tourism potential, one of the key events to look at is the Production Ghana Music Award. I mean, if you look at its trends, KPMG does some sort of research almost every year after the event. And they can tell you that no single event, none of our festivals, none of our cultural events, none of our installations of Queen Mothers whatsoever, none of our forts and castles, none of our forest reserves or country walkways bring more tourists into the country than the VGMA. None of these events. They will tell you surely that, look, when it comes to economic benefits to our sector, that VGMA weekend alone, hotel accommodation to tell you that your revenue spike. I mean, people that rent stage, that rent light, and all those things, taxi drivers, hairdressers, they can all tell you how their profit spike and go up. So definitely, when we're speaking about the economic impact and the impact of tourism, the VGMA is very, 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 very tall. So I would want to believe that government knows this and has a good heart for the event. If they are unable to support, I don't think they would because they don't want to support. It could probably be because realistically, the resources are there. Someone would ask, but they give so much to Africa. Well, I cannot speak to them. Better literacy than we do, or maybe they know how to unlock revenue potential than we do, or maybe it's better to invest the taxpayers' money in an event that has a continental appeal. So the reasons could vary. I mean, someone will say, what about Afrotella and the others that were supported? And I'll say, well, maybe at that time the resources were available. But
okay.
I am saying that I am still alive. I have faith in this government, and I still believe that maybe even if it's not this year, maybe next year.
Right. So, but did you present a proposal formally to any government institution?
Definitely, my brother. Well, we've been in this industry impact analysis that has its benefits to the state and how it would put Ghana out there on the map. Evidence of all the other international partners and countries who are willing to be a part of this year's event, with letters from Uganda, letters from the Barbados government, letters from South Africa, letters from Nigeria, and everything from the world.
Wow.
Even argue that when it comes to continental appeal, the VGMA stands tall. Not to literally hear an event, but thank God, Ghana, Charterhouse, and Zylofon, and everybody who has supported this event has done some good work to give it a good continental appeal.
Beautiful.
Confidently argue that it's one of the biggest and best music award shows south of the Sahara.
Nice. How much was captured in the proposal?
That I do not remember financially of events and activities. Usually, you do not send a blanket amount that give me this amount. You need to justify it. So, like the big star music museum that we would want to do at a that have even started and are still going on. You know, that has some capital intensity, so it's captured in there. There are things like the installations that we wanted to do, the VGMA Walk of Fame or Hall of Fame. There are things like the lifetime achievement honors that accompany the award. It would be difficult at top of mind, I can mention a figure, but what I do know is that a lot of these items were itemized, and that was what summed up the value of sponsorship that was requested from government.
Right. Now, should the support come in now, would you revert to the wish list or you still continue with the reality list?
Oh, should the support come in now, we will do our best to ensure that, look, Ghana gets, not just Ghana, but the world sees Ghana to the heights that would have been Ghana Music Awards. So we will do our best based on what it is. Let's not forget, a lot of time is already gone, and a lot of the activities on the wish list ought to have happened already, like the special celebration of gospel music concert, which we're going to do in partnership with Peresville. I'm sure if you call Peresville, they'll tell you that bookings and everything was done. But traditional music night, that was going to be done. The special highlight music night, the Kalahari music night, that was supposed to be dedicated solely for hip life music. It was a lot. And the other nominees that were given for other regions. We nominees in other regions. A lot of time has already elapsed. So, yes, if that promotion come in, we'll still look at the drawing board, we'll look at the what can be done out of what is left.
Thank you very much.
Things like the Digital Music Museum are yellow.
Yes. Right. But as per your reality list, we have 3 major events yet to happen. VGMA Experience.
Let me get a cut out of the bag.
Let it out.
On Zylofon FM. It will be the first time ever you will have your 4 FMs performing on one stage. Sarkodie, Shatawale, Stoneboy, Samini.
Sarkodie, Shatawale, Stoneboy, Samini. These are the 4 artists built to perform on one stage.
That's on the night.
Right. Right. Interesting. So Samini, Shatawale, Sarkodie, Stoneboy, all 4 performing on the VGMA Experience Night at the Independence Square. Wow. No gospel artist?
Oh, like I said, just a simple yeah.
Okay. All right.
There will be highlights or we have lights or we do back. It's going to be one hell of a night. The only thing I said was that this is about the first time, if I'm not mistaken, 4 will be together on one stage.
Wow. One stage, one night. And then we have the music business seminar, which is also yet to happen.
Friday, the 17th of May.
Right.
A day for the event. And it's going to have speakers from across the globe. I mean, we have some good, because I don't have the list right here. But we'll be able to share, or maybe later in the day, I'll be able to share the full list.
Okay, okay.
So there's a lot of cloud that our musicians would want to listen to.
Right. And then the main event itself, 18th of May. Where is it happening?
Accra.
Venue. No, that would be smart one. It's smart one. But then you. Yeah, but it's happening at the conference center. Definitely. All right, George. Thank you very much this morning. Nice. Okay, Judge Quaye from Charterhouse speaking on behalf of the VGMAs. And then what's happening so far? Government was supposed to support. Of course, government pledged some, sort of support, financial support, I must say. But up until now, that hasn't been realized. But they're keeping faith alive, keeping hope alive, hoping that by the time we hit 18th May, some money would have come from government to support. So VGMA is working with a reality list instead of the wish list. Let's see what happens. If the support comes to revert to wish list. Mike Yamwa.
Arnold.
Quite a lot.
Yes.
You know. Government pledges support. And it's 2 weeks to the main event. Do you think something can come out of it?
I don't expect anything to come out of it. Because whatever money comes, if they really wanted to use it to either upgrade their reality list, I think they will do it, or it will go to balance it. But I know that I'm at a loss. I don't know, so many things have been going on in my mind. Why? Because this is Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, and we know Vodafone took over from MTN. They have their name pegged to the award, and it's been Vodafone. We don't know how much Vodafone has committed or has committed or has been committing into the awards, how much they give them.
Yeah.
But I am clearly worried if I were a communication person or I were part of Vodafone, because of the narrative that the money we get is not enough for the award, it's not enough, we don't get enough, we don't have
That's
enough,
what you
we don't have,
from
yes.
what's happening.
You get it. Then I see what is the support for what's the relevance of Vodafone to the awards? I don't know. Because you see, this is a corporate image. So if such narrative has always been in the media, from official communicators, from Charterhouse, from everybody, it's not enough, it's not enough. Of course, we know no sponsorship is enough. But for one of the biggest brands, and let's not kid, Vodafone Ghana Music Awards is a big brand. Something to the extent that they're even giving proposals to government, and they have given the breakdown cultural tourism impact that Ghana is going to enjoy globally. Then I will be worried if I were to be managing the Vodafone brand. Oh, seriously. Because for me, it doesn't create a good corporate image. You see, if the money they are getting from Vodafone is not enough, and we know no sponsorship is enough, of course they are headline sponsors, what do? Liaise with them to also bring in other people so that whatever wish list you have, you execute it once you come out to communicate. For me, and
should that be done behind closed doors? Behind
closed doors, it shouldn't affect me. I shouldn't be worried. My taxpayers' money shouldn't be breathing, and you get it. Worried because look, money for awards is not enough. Because there's a wish list for a 20-year period, and the money is not coming because it's a pledge. No. You factor all this in place before even you think about any extraneous what you're going to win for. If it comes from government, it's a win for something you don't expect, you've not planned. Did they have this in mind before they came out with the wish list and announced it? Was there commitment from government? Okay. And how much?
So they announced it even when there wasn't commitment?
I don't know. For all you know, but I think during the award launch, I heard the GTDC boss, Kudentry, announced that government was going to support. I don't know if it's either him or Kwesi Ajimai. Any of them did. But as to the support, you and I don't know. So this is where I get a bit worried. Now, Arnold, now we are also hearing that government is going to, they are committing. I've also seen reviews. People have written articles that look, it is bad. Just 100,000. 100,000. Yes, because they've committed more to other awards, which something Judge Quaye even reiterated. Of course, he is a communicator, smart one. He will not go straight because they gave 300,000 to Chaliwote, Afrima, was one and this Afrima is homegrown here and there. Look, these are things I firmly believe this is homegrown, we can support it. We should need to support it. But the comparison, do you get it? And Charlie Watte to say that, oh, VGMA is the biggest, is the impact. Look, if I were investing in tourism and I see the impact Charlie Watte gives Ghana, global appeal, reviews globally, let's be frank, we don't get that same online global review with VGMA. Let's be frank, look at Charlie Watte, the impact, tourism-wise, direct cultural impact. VGMA, most of the time we complain that only a few people go to the venue. That's why maybe the experience they would have taught the other regions. But sometimes people believe that it's just for a few secluded.
Judge Quaye is back on the line. I think he wants to clarify something, and then when he's done, I'll give you the floor. Judge. Yes. There's something you want to add or subtract.
Yes. Your speaker, I think Mike Yamwa, right?
Yeah, Mike Yamwa.
My thing, let me greet him. I mean, he's given a great submission. However, I would be happy if we can take what I said in totality.
Okay.
Did commend Vodafone for their work done so far. Not just Vodafone, all our media partners, I mentioned Zylofon, everybody else. However, like I said, the planning from the very beginning had activities. One reality and one wish list. Both were presented. You understand? And Vodafone has been phenomenal, no two ways about it. We cannot overestimate or underestimate or downplay their impact in this awards game over the last number of years. I think about 10 years or so, if I'm not mistaken. They've been phenomenal. But the budget for an event like this is huge. Now, when we look at the act that was planned from the beginning, let us not forget the commitment to support the VGMAs was made by Honorable Catherine Afeku last year. We hadn't even asked for it. When Afrima was first announced, and a lot of noise that from the public, why are you giving them this, why are you doing all that? Honorable Catherine Afeku did make it clear that it was not just Afrima, but other initiatives like the VGMAs and all other events and stuff that happen in Ghana will be supported. In one way or the other. So at that point, conversations did start. Conversations have started from last year.
Right.
So it's not like somebody just got up and out of the blue decided to generate a wish list. Why did we not call it a firm plan and this is what we are going with? Because at that time, the funding hadn't come yet, though some commitment had been made. And this commitment was reiterated, was reconfirmed as the VGMA launched this year. Member of the Ghana Authority Development Agency. And then let us go to the comparison. Allow those who want to compare. They are liberty to do so. But if you want to really look at the impact of the VGMAs over the years, do not discount the power of media.
Right.
The VGMA 9 alone, the airing platforms that show it globally, and yet to understand which other event gets that kind of airing. The eyeball that watch VGMAs globally. Of course, it is not a Grammy. It is not even the PDP. But for what we have on our ground, I would kindly implore each and every one of us to do some introspection and to do some impact analysis. You have a chat with KPMG, or if you like to see the figures and the impact analysis that we have, you can come by and we can share it with you.
Right.
Something we should downplay. INRC has performed themselves creditably over the years, and this event has opened some doors to some of them, and we should find a way to jealously guide and support it to the next level. Let us do well to keep our conversation in perspective, not to make it look like because Vodafone is supporting, it does not need any other kind of support. Even when you speak to Vodafone themselves, they will tell you that clearly, yes, we are supporting, but we also do appreciate the full scale of the event.
Right.
Put all its resources in one event. Commend Vodafone for what they are doing and encourage other institutions in Ghana to also come on. As I have said, it doesn't even have to be government, but let us encourage others to come on board, and together we can make it one of the best in the world.
Thank you very much, George, for the clarification.
Thank you, guys.
Right. Okay. So Judge Quaye has added, something to the conversation. I don't know if you're still going to pick one or two from what he's added.
Of course, but I think George will bear me that I will never sit here and then downplay the impact of the VGMAs. No, it's an award scheme I've supported. I support something artists I promote, Ghana for. I actively promote, help people vote for them, and then just to be recognized if it were not important. And of course, when artists I support win it, it boosts their brand globally and all that. So I'll never. But I know, as I said in this year, it's an analysis I'm doing.
Yeah.
So you look at different things from different perspectives. Of course, if I sleep, why not? That's why he's there. He just comes in here and there. But whatever I've said, I stand by it based on the analysis I've done. Now, if I were government, or if I were government, and I were to commit resources to the 20-year VGMA, and I'm happy, yes, they had some projects ongoing, like the digital, the music, what do you call it, museum,
yeah.
and then I think there was another, those I said is a year long. If it's a year long, then I don't think it's even too late for government to come in. It's a year long, so we don't even need it before that was. But of course, commitment needs to come so that they know the way forward. Otherwise, if the government support was meant for the experience concerts, the gospel, traditional, and the tour, then I think it needs to come out clear. And I'm also trying. I also
get where the support
yes,
is coming.
no, of course, but I also have the hunch. I get the hand that probably they didn't get. They wanted the support, immediate support, to have these concerts done. That's why they had to cancel even the gospel from Perez Dome and all that. You get it? But then you sit back and you're like, okay, if I have proposals before me, there's a digital music museum, there's this, there's that. Where will I want to commit my resources? No, do you get it? Where will I want to commit my resources for a legacy, for a lasting legacy to be done? Is it just having concerts around because it's a 20-year period, or something more tangible that can become legacy? You get, I don't know the facts, so these are things that I am, yes, I don't know the fact. You can come. You get, so probably these are the way things are going. So if the 100,000, I don't know where the 100,000 is going. Is it for just for the organization of the events? But I'm also surprised. I'm worried, and I'm not happy the presidential board didn't come on. I don't know if it will come, but the presidential board didn't come on. I don't know why, but I think government could have, if they had pushed it, at least the presidential board would have given it more. I don't know whether because the musical grand ball also just came just about somewhere last month. This would have, but this is the biggest of all. It would have been ideal. Charterhouse, yes, they've done well, 20-year period, but I still maintain that look, this wish list and then actual is now let's go with it. Then you sit back as a critic, you're like, no, either you didn't plan well, which I know they did. They get, of course, resources here, but it doesn't give a good image and impression. Good image, and then the bottom line is what we didn't have enough resources, so we've cut. We are no more going with our wish list. It was just a wish list. I would have loved 20 years plan ahead, which they did. I know you plan ahead, which they did, but just be very certain. Very certain. Because look, you can't just have a budget, announce it, and say, oh, if all things are equal, we'll do this. A politician will do this. Nobody will accept it in a manifesto or in a. Of course, the argument will be that, of course, we pay taxes to government, so they have no business doing it. But whatever it is, this is what we have, and we are going to enjoy. This is a 20-year anniversary. 20 years is no joke. I know they are going to give us an experience of our lifetime, but it shouldn't end there. Whatever government has planned, of course, they have legacy projects. It shouldn't end on the night. Even the resources are not coming. 100,000, I know it's not enough. Yeah, it's not enough. But Arnold, it's not enough for what? How as it's not enough for what? If I know clearly where the 100,000 will go, then I can make a small case and say, look, 300,000 went for Chaliwote, over $5 million going for Afrima. Vodafone Ghana Music Awards needs $10 million based on this project. I read them the best, and of course, we will be there to support them.
Right. Mike Yamwa, lecturer. Now move on to Dada Hafko. Dada, government pledge support up until now. Nothing has come in from government, and that has made it impossible for Charterhouse to work with a wish list, and they have to now work with the reality list. How does it all play out?
Well, I know. Well, it sounds a bit some way though, but like George said, that Honorable Katrina Feku was the one who actually made the pledge. That was last year when she was the minister. So obviously, once she comes out to make such a statement, the VGMA would be expecting that something will come out of from government. And in my Yama's submission, he also said that he said you had Koyentri or
no, I think all of them are very committed. The country that George says.
No, he reiterated it.
Yes, so then it means that there's something in the offing for the VGMA. And so, but for me, I feel like the VGMA, they deserve it. If government has started pushing some monies to certain events, the VGMA happens to be one of the biggest events we have in a calendar year. I mean, it brings all musicians to one venue. It brings all of us to come and just, you know, see how impactful we are being to the society. You know, the type of music we're doing, and they award people just for people like Mike said to boost people's brand and all of that, because once you win the VGMA, people start seeing you in a different light. Even when you get a nomination, then because people feel like the whole year, no, we are there. So once the VGMA list comes out, then people start believe that, oh, you did well, why did you? Because it's sort of like a reward for your work. So for such a scheme, I think government should be able to put something, to table something down for them. I saw on social media when somebody has said that they should protest when they are given the 100,000 because 300,000 went to Chaliwati and all of that. Well, you can say that the 100,000 is not enough. I mean, if you look at VGMA, the kind of things that goes on, and even the celebration week, things that happen. I mean, the VGMA, the 100,000 is woefully inadequate. Yes, there's some small money. But Obibeka said, we need one so you have to take it. Then also, you can't entirely say that because they are being sponsored by Vodafone, and so they might not need any other money, or because I mean, Vodafone is supposed to be the title sponsor. They're supposed to make sure that whatever you need, we are providing it.
But nobody has said that.
No, I'm just saying that you can't also say that because a Pokrans in Zutubu, when it's raining, the sea won't say that I am the sea. I cover, you know, whatever place on the earth, and so when it's raining, exclude me. Yes, I mean, it will also yearn for more. So I think when you look at it, it's actually a thing for government to do. They have to at least get them something, because whether we like it or yes, the VGMA has become our topmost award scheme in our music industry. It has even gone all the way to categorize. Right now, the VGMA decides which type of music you do. You understand? Yes. That's how it has become now. Now, when the VGMA categorizes music, it stays like that.
High life.
When your song is listed as a high life song, it stays like that. Like CCTV that has rap in there, VGMA says it's high life. A cow. The artist will start seeing himself as a high life artist. And that's how it has become. So for such a scheme, no, I think government should be able to commit something. There's a government that has said that he wants to throw his weight behind the tourism industry. And all these things requires money. So for me there, I feel if they made a pledge that they will give them something, time is fast moving. Today is 2nd. The VGMA is happening 18th. On the 18th. We have just 16 days to go. What is keeping the money? Why is the money still not being released? You understand? So for me, I think maybe judge them. They should probably push a little more. Because they feel like, okay, all these years government, you know, ain't supporting it. So let's do our thing. When they bring it, we'll take it. Yeah. When they bring it, fine. But once they have made that pledge, I think they should go all out to push them. Time is moving, and since he said because maybe this kind of delay, you know, they haven't been able to even say they are working with a wish list.
They are now working with a reality list.
Reality list instead of the wish list.
Instead of the wish list.
It means that the money is going to cause some kind of problems. You understand? Because already some of the events have been cancelled already.
Yeah.
Some of the celebration events have been cancelled already.
And very key events.
Very key
because
events.
Gospel night, high life or hip life night, these are all very key, you know, components of our music industry.
For me, like being a high life artist, I was looking
forward to that night.
Yes. To that event night, because we need to redefine our music and preserve our music and all of them. Those things would go a long way to help the industry. So once the money delays or once the money does not come, it means it's going to affect. So you know, even as a human being, when somebody promises you money, aha, because we need the answer. Yes, we need to say yes. We need to say Charlie at least.
And that's how we just got around here.
Exactly. Because we say at least Charlie by Monday, this guy money will pop. I did that. Oh, disappointed. What's the so I think maybe the VGMA may have been in such a situation.
Knowing that blow cash,
knowing that the minister had promised. So let's factor it into our budget that now we're going to get some money from, and then we're left with 2 weeks to go,
and nothing,
and unfortunately, also, Madam Catherine is no more there.
Could that also be a reason?
I think it could. I think it could, because
if she was there, she said it
exactly.
So the pressure would be on her to deliver.
I think it could, because
she's no more there.
If a person promises you something, the person will champion the cause no matter what, because it's the person's promise.
Yeah.
But when the different person, and especially in government, when somebody else comes there, the person becomes very new to all these things that's happening. It's not like the person was Madam Afiku's deputy, or the person was working in that ministry. The person is coming from a very different ministry to this place. So when she gets there, I mean, everything is going to be very, very new to her. Now you're going to tell her, oh, Madam Afiku promised to give the VGMA something. Oh, on what premise? About saying then or not. You understand? Now we're going to look through, or we know Ghana and bureaucracy. We're going to look through everything, Charlie. By the time it's going to be ready now, maybe we not VGMA. So I think maybe they should push a little bit to see if it could be, you know, fast forward for them, so that they can achieve whatever has to be achieved on the night.
Thank you very much. That half go. Now, Chief.
Yep. I know.
Yeah. What's your take too? Money still hasn't come. 2 weeks to go.
ASM. Agafest, the gospel event that had just gone by, suffered a similar fate.
Okay.
It suffered a similar fate in the sense that this same Madam Catherine Afiku had promised a certain level of support.
Oh, for Agafest?
Yes, for Agafest. Based on which projections, forecasting, and planning was done. Only for the last minutes, for the ministry, Madam Afiku herself to renege on that promise, which to a large extent affected the quality of the Agafest. Albeit, it came off as modest as we could. And I see a similar thing for the VGMA. You know, even though in this case government has not, or the ministry has not expressly reneged or you know, giving a message that we are unable to support, it seems it has delayed. And sometimes when justice delays, as they say, it may be justice denied. We all know the nature of our country, that it takes money to do everything. And whether you like it or not, money will affect your budget. It doesn't matter what projections and how well you plan. If the wherewithal, which is the money, to execute your well laid out plans do not come on time or doesn't come at all, you're unable to do anything. VGMA, the 20th edition, obviously they've become a huge milestone. And to side with both earlier speakers, which is Dada Afko and Mike Yamoa, it has become the standard of our music. I would have wished that we had a government-centered or a government-manned award scheme, like it used to be ECRAG and so on and so forth. Like, you know, VGMA, or if you like, a private entity came in, began to organize and has sustained. Unfortunately, for the government schemes, it runs for a couple of years and then it's truncated.
Yeah.
It runs for a couple of years, then it is truncated. So there's no continuity. But this one obviously has been able to sustain itself for 20 years based on private funding and private initiative. And that's an amazing feat.
Yeah.
And so I would have wished that this 20th anniversary, government will actually honor its promise to them. So that some way, somehow, there can be a quasi-government face to the 20th anniversary, because it is important. It is very important. It has become the standard of who a musician in this country is. Has global affiliations that recognizes the artists who win sports at the VGMA. So we can't downplay it. So for me, this also tells of government's posture. George Quaye was very magnanimous to government, and I was surprised, you know, that you know, for one who's been promised by government until now, the support hasn't come. Reason for which you have to cancel some of the events you had planned. It was rather magnanimous in saying that, oh, you know, government has a lot of needs and so on and so forth, and so he believes in this government. And so I just cited an example that there was a promise made to Agafest. It was not honored. It is possible that it may be the removal of Catherine Afiku from her office and the coming of another person may have disrupted the process. You know, so perhaps the new one wants to look at every promise made, every sponsorship package deal that has gone. They want to re-look at it so that they are able to give good stewardship of, you know, their period or their tenure in office. That's very understandable. But it also doesn't look good for government. It looks bad for government, because then if we play out the sequence of events, maybe Agafest, maybe someone else will also come and, you know, relay their own experiences as regards how they were promised and didn't see fulfillment. Meanwhile, we have seen other ones. We have seen other ones, like the Afrima. Huge money given to them. And today, there's a disputation as regards whether its impact was
felt.
Yes, was worth the resource government gave to it. So what is the criteria for deciding to support this and not support that? Do people have personal interest? Why not this and why that? Of course, we can do impact analysis, you know, but for our for Afrima to get the kind of resources you got from government, and for the VGMA that has run 20 years, 20 years, to be struggling with government support, I think it doesn't look good for us as a country. And it also means that the creative arts ministry doesn't seem to understand the dynamics at play here. You see, because their support can now allow them to influence what goes on with our music. Government support will give them a certain leverage and a certain say in what we think is not going right and what is going right, and what direction government wishes to go in shaping our music, because our music is also part of our tourist commodities. In fact, it's one of the biggest tourist commodities that we have for sale. But as of now, I do not think that we have any tourist commodity or in the form of music that we are selling. As of now, it is dispersed individual efforts. Stoneboy says he's doing what's the name? Dancehall. Shatta says he's doing dancehall. The highlight proponents that we have, it looks are relegated. The highlight, which is actually the Ghanaian identity, looks like it's relegated. Those that are projected are imports from other parts of the world, and that's because they are individual efforts. You can't force them to do what they don't want to do. But if government stake is huge in this thing, government can even say, look, we are sponsoring, like the World Bank. The World Bank used to sponsor, I think, a certain category called music for something development. Music for world or for environmental development or something that the World Bank used to sponsor. So every now and then musicians will do songs that will impact society positively. Maybe deal with an environmental problem, and then that category is sponsored by the World Bank. And so you could tell that at some point musicians were doing environmentally impacting songs. I don't know if it still exists. But as of now, you know, in concluding, as of now, I don't know if it is still there, but government can actually sponsor maybe a segment or a category, you know, with a view to selling a particular kind of musical commodity or music commodity as part of our cultural, tourist efforts in selling out this country. So they shouldn't just look at it as, oh, we are giving some amount of money to a private entity to organize musical concert because they do the VGMA. But it must also fall within government's plan. And if the government claims that they are here to support the creative arts, these things must be thought through.
Right.
You know, these things must be thought through so that we can begin to shape the industry and sell the nation positively to the outside world. So in concluding, finally, government must not renege on this promise. The supports must come.
Right. Thank you very much, Chief Charles. The support must come. Whichever way, however they do it, the support must definitely come because we need it. Okay.